manageable that way.
It packs a punch.
Sorry.
You worked this out on your own.
Elayne Trakand's small screen debut in The Wheel of Time Season 2 has significant ramifications for 6 other book characters. Elayne, who is portrayed by Ciara Coveney, makes her long-awaited debut in The Wheel of Time Season 2, Episode 2, Strangers and Friends. Elayne began Nynaeve O'Meara and Egwene Over's journey by enrolling as a novice at the White Tower, just like her fictional counterpart in The Great Hunt. As a result, Elayne has become Egwene's new friend and someone who might support her in her struggles at the White Tower in Season 2 of The Wheel of Time. Although this is true to the story Robert Jordan told about it in the Wheel of Time books, it actually took place somewhat late in the time frame. In The Eye of the World, Elayne initially appeared and met Rand in the Andorian Palace. But this entire plot cannot continue because Elayne is already at the White Tower. Additionally, this artistic choice has an effect on more than just the relationship between Rand and Elayne. It also affects how viewers will be exposed to a number of other characters. Gawen Trakand, Elayne's brother and a figure who subsequently turned into Egwene's main love interest, made his debut with Elayne's in The Eye of the World. Gawen, who was portrayed as amiable and Elayne's confidante, supported Elayne as she fought for Rand's release after he was taken prisoner by the palace guards. Gawen was courteous to Rand and eager to trust his sister's judgment, unlike the majority of the other attendees, which helped to establish him as a likable hero in the books. In The Great Hunt, Gawen made a comeback to see Elayne at the White Tower, where he first met Egwene. The Wheel of Time may introduce Gawen in this way, much like the show did with Elayne, which could create the groundwork for their romance. Even so, it would still be a significant departure from the way he was initially introduced to readers in The Eye of the World. Morgase Trakand is the reigning monarch of Andor in The Wheel of Time, despite the fact that her name has not yet been spoken. In the books, Morgase is portrayed as a righteous king who supports the Dragon Reborn in his fight against the Dark One. But when she first met him, he wasn't thought of as the strong channeler who would guide them into the last battle. Instead, he was brought before the guards as a palace trespasser. Rand was questioned extensively throughout the heated exchange, but Morgase disregarded him as a common wanderer from the Two Rivers and freed him. It's difficult to predict what the show has in store for Morgase now that the initial encounter between Rand and Elayne at the palace has been taken out of the picture. Morgase is a leader whose influence makes her a key player in the political aspect of the plot, and she will probably play some role in their conflict at some point. However, Andor is a long way from the show's setting, so Morgase might not turn up for some time. Unless the show alters things again by having her travel outside of her home, perhaps to visit her daughter in the White Tower. She might also show up in Mat's narrative, especially considering that they did meet in The Dragon Reborn. Rand had his first ever contact with Galad Damudred, a character who ultimately turned out to be his half-brother, shortly after meeting Elayne and Gawen. Galad, who was known for his upstanding demeanor and strict moral standards, made a horrible first impression by informing the guards of Rand's unintentional entry into the palace out of a sense of duty. He also returned to the scene in The Great Hunt when he visited her at White Tower, just like Gawen did. He eventually rose to prominence in the narrative, joining the White Cloaks and emerging as a hero. However, it's crucial to remember that he didn't always agree with other significant figures. Not merely because it included Elayne and other Wheel of Time protagonists. The Elayne story in The Eye of the World had a significant impact on the books. Elayne, an Aes Sedai and a significant antagonist in Jordan's works, was also introduced. Elayne, a Red Ajah member, shares Liandrin's characteristics in that she consistently serves as the series' antagonist. Her brief appearance in The Eye of the World was a great prelude to how she would be used in works like The Great Hunt and The Dragon Reborn. Elayne was the one who created the tense environment after Rand was arrested. Unlike the others, who were unconcerned with the situation, Elayne wanted Rand jailed and deemed him dangerous. Elayne's transformation into a villain was largely influenced by Rand's meeting her before she went to the White Tower to cause problems among the Aes Sedai, since it gave her a head start on her real foe, the Dragon Reborn. Captain General Gareth Bryne, the commander of the Andorian army, served as Siuan Sanche's romantic interest and was closely associated with Morgase. He first appeared in The Eye of the World as the palace's voice of reason, expressing his thoughts on Rand and ostensibly persuading the Queen to release him. Gareth Bryne developed a recurring role after being established as a soldier who supported Morgase, usually as someone the players could consider an ally. He typically traveled with Siuan, although he also appeared in a few other people's stories, including Egwene's. Guardsman Lieutenant Martin Talenver is another minor character whose introduction has surely been altered by the Wheel of Time's decision to exclude Elayne's story in The Eye of the World. Talenver, the leader of the palace guards who led Rand to the throne room to see the Queen, is secretly in love with the Queen herself and fiercely protective of the royal family. Talenver returned to the forefront when the royal family became more prominent in tales like The Dragon Reborn, and was prepared to go to any lengths to ensure Queen Morgase's safety. He has been inaccurately introduced by the Wheel of Time, but there may be a second chance anytime one of its characters travels to Andor.